Almost as good as the Dallas Stars have been rolling, and we might as well get into it now. It looks like it's time to chat with a legendary man. He just surpassed a record that I don't think anyone thought would be broken for a long time. 2,500 career NHL games, man behind the bench, the coach of one of the hottest teams in the league right now, Mr. Rick Bowness. Rick, thank you so much for joining us, sir.
My pleasure. Look forward to it.
Hey, Bones, yeah, thank you for hopping on here. And I'll just full transparency for the people watching here. They're in the chat and are going to be watching this. I spent about 5 hot minutes playing for Bones, but I'll tell you what, man, it made an impression on me. And I'm pumped to have you on here. Congratulations, man. 2,500. I saw the post-game presentation kind of with the puck there by Jamie Benn. Can you take us through last night and kind of what that meant for you?
Well, it meant an awful lot, Rapper. First of all, we made a huge mistake in Phoenix letting you go. Well, we did. You're wonderful, one of the best teammates a guy could ever ask for to play for. You did a lot of good things to help a team win. So I think it was our loss when we lost you in Phoenix, and you made me a better coach while we had you. So, but last night was special, and as you know, Rapper, in our business, you move around a lot, and all you got to do is look at the number of teams I've coached over the years. And it's been, there's 38 years where you are going to coach a lot of different teams. But every time you look at it, you say, well, that means every time you go into a new city, you have to go home and tell your wife and your children, okay, Dad got fired. We're moving. We got to sell the house. We got to go to a new house. We got to go to a new neighborhood. Got to find new friends. Got to find new schools. So it's been a wonderful journey for all of us, but I could not have done it without my wife, Judy, and the kids' support. And I always talk about this story is that, every time I got fired and we were moving, we always had a little family discussion about, okay, do you want Dad to try to do something else? And it was always unanimous. No, Dad, we're a hockey family, and let's go on to the next city. And an instance of that is when I got fired in Ottawa, I think that was 95. Anyways, New Year's, I got hired by the Islanders right away. So we decided to drive the kids down to New York for the weekend. And all of a sudden the guilt hits you as a father, right? Like you're saying, my God, what am I doing to my family? What am I doing to my kids? And all of a sudden a little voice in the backseat said, it's okay, Dad, we're a hockey family, right? So again, it was a big thrill last night for me, and it was a big thrill for my family because we all know the sacrifices they've had to make over the years.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's you nailed it, man. It's you couldn't do what you did without or have done up to this point without their support. I look back to, I remember talking to Dan Bilesma when I was in Pittsburgh, and I played against Dan as a player, and then he obviously had that great run with the Penguins and won the Cup in 2009. And I was just asking him, like, when did you know you were going to coach, and how did you know you wanted to get into it? And he's like, you know what, honestly, one of the things that for me getting him as a player traveling around and spending time different minor league organizations in the NHL, he goes, I started paying attention. I was like, okay, this coach does this and it works. This coach, that didn't really get our room kind of on the same page. And he's like, I started he's like, I literally kept a book on what works, what didn't work, what I liked, what I didn't like as a player. He's like, and I just tried to bring that all together when he started, coaching. And I just think of you, 2,500 games. That's dating over 5 decades, or sorry, coaching within 5, segments of Jesus Christ. Like, you understand what I'm saying? You got me, Bones. Maybe there's a good reason you traded me. Maybe I couldn't keep track of the forecheck. I don't know. But anyways, no, you played in parts or coached in parts of 5 decades. Thank you. And so, with that being said, like, I don't know how much you pay attention to it, but we got, Nick on here is a big Pittsburgh sports fan. And I'm not trying to poke fun at this situation, but like there's something coming out of the Pittsburgh Steelers the other day about how what do they need to do as far as working harder. And one of the players said, well, we think playing music at practice will make us work harder. And all I'm going to say about that is if you've coached in 5 separate decades, like that's a mindset that's changed over time immensely from when you first started coaching till now. So how have you managed to manage the players and see the players and connect with the players over that time?
Well, first of all, as a coach, you have to adapt as you did with you from where you came into the league and when you left the league. Different generations are coming in, and different generations they have their own way. They have a different way, and as a coach, you have to adapt to them. I mean, they're not going to come in now and adapt to the coach. It's a different mentality now. But I always go back, Rupert, to when I was a player, and I wasn't a very good player. There was one game in the National Hockey League, and I sat on the bench the whole game. So I went into the coach the next day, and I said, "Give me something here. Like I hate sitting there. Give me something I can work on that I can get on the ice." And the response was, "Well, you have to work harder." Well, all I had was a work ethic, man, because I knew I wasn't a very good player, and it struck me then, and it stayed with me. And when I got into coaching, I always said, "I'm going to coach the way I wanted to be coached." And I think that's helped me over the years as well. And which, just be honest with the players. You're going to tell them things they don't want to hear, but it's rather than keep it from them and come up with some ridiculous reason why they're not playing or they're missing shifts. Just be honest and upfront and look them in the eye. And that's how I wanted to be treated as a player. And from the day I got into coaching, that's how I've coached. I'm just going to coach the way I wanted to do. I think there's been times it's cost me a job, which is fine. That doesn't bother me, because if I'm going to get fired, I'm going to get fired doing it my way. I'm not going to try to change myself in my approach to the game. It cost me a job, then it cost me a job. But I have to be true to myself. And again, the biggest thing I've tried to do over the years is just coach players and talk to players the way I wanted to be treated, which was with respect. And I've always tried to do that. And the game, there's a lot of changes in our game today. The game's a lot faster and everything else, but the basic fundamentals of the game have not changed. And so we continue to preach those and teach the principles that you stick to it. And regardless of the score, when I worked with Al Arbour in the Islanders, he always just said, play the right way no matter what the score. You just play the right way and you always have good habits. And I've kind of lived with that one as well. But you gotta be true to yourself. You gotta be yourself. And fortunately, it's carried me this far.
Yeah, I mean, when you look back to and you start thinking, I mean, I remember for you guys watching that don't know what the timing when I played under coach here was right. It was right before the lockout, right? So was that 03-04 season, right at the end of trade deadline, got traded to Arizona, and you were the interim coach at that time. And so then we go into the lockout, we come back, and that's when Wayne Gretzky gets hired as head coach that summer. And I remember, Wayne Gretzky was like an idol of mine growing up. And this would just speak to how players wanted to go through a wall for coach here. It's like when Wayne was announced that he was going to be the coach, I remember I was kind of like, oh, I like Bones, and some of us were talking and that's now no knock on, I mean, it's Wayne Gretzky, but I'm just saying, like, guys, you had that ability to make guys want to play for you. And I feel like that's something that's kind of hard to get right out of players. So over the years, whenever your name comes up, people are like, oh, that's a player's coach. Is that something that you've liked having that label? Or because it could be, people can assume that means you're a pushover, and you're certainly not that.
No, I'm not a big believer in labels. Like, I've coached the defense and the penalty killing for years, and all of a sudden they're saying, well, he's a defensive coach. Yeah, when I worked in Vancouver and Tampa, we led the league in scoring. So I'm not a big believer in labels. And again, to me, it goes back to being true to yourself. There's times you got to get after a player and you got to get in his face. There's no question. You can't hesitate to do that. So am I a player's coach? I don't know. I'm not a believer in labels. You got to coach the way you think you got to coach. You got to play the way you think your team has to play. And then you go with that. So, I know I've heard that, but I don't put a whole lot of, honestly, I've never put a whole lot of attention into that. I just go there every day and be me and do what I got to do. So let's go back to discussion on the Pittsburgh jerseys, because I remember the blue and white, and they were great uniforms. And I was working for the Bruins when Pittsburgh changed their colors to black and white, or black, gold, and white. And that was the same year, I think, Vancouver. Remember Vancouver came out, they had the V's and all the black. Yeah. Well, Harry was going crazy. Well, is every team in the league going to go black, gold, and white now? So, but I do remember the blue jerseys, and they were nice. But I do love the Pittsburgh jerseys now as well. Good call.
Yeah, no, the blue ones are sweet. We had those in the Winter Classic in 2011. and I love them. And the good thing about it, and I think you guys would. I mean, you guys got those bright jerseys now, and I think you take us behind the scenes, because I always talk with this. I'm like, people are all like, oh, I like that third jersey. I don't like that third jersey. I want to see more of those shiny helmets. I don't want to see more of those shiny helmets. I'm like, guys, you don't understand. It doesn't matter. If the players win, they'll wear them more. If they don't win, they're going to be like, get these things out of here right now. Is that a real thing?
No, yeah. Remember last summer, the Boston Red Sox, I'm a Red Sox fan, they won a game with the yellow jerseys. I think they wore them for the next 2 weeks. And I'm saying, where these guy uniforms come from? Boston Red Sox are wearing gold or yellow, whatever they were. But I think you're right. We had So if the players win a game, and I'm not superstitious at all. But some guys just, oh no, we got to do that again, or I've got to walk to the rink the same way. But I had that gold helmet on. We got to do that again as quick as we can. So some players are superstitious. Some guys, it just doesn't matter. So,
Coach, you said you're not superstitious, but one of the guys on your team, Tyler Seguin, is notorious for being has to be the last guy off the ice. Have you ever talked to him about that? That mental battle has to be insane of just having to be the last guy off the ice every single time.
The more superstitions you have, you got to drive yourself crazy, right? Everything's got to fall into lane. But no, I don't touch the players' superstitions. If that's what they need to get ready, then that's what they need to get ready. You start getting in their head about that, you could be raising doubts. And anyways, if that's what he needs, hey, go for it. And, he's throwing pucks to kids and everything. So I think that's great for the fans. I think it's wonderful for the kids at our games that a player is actually showing interest in getting them part of the game. So I don't mind those things.
We talked in one of our last episodes about Sid and some of his superstitions, and those things, they seem to be working for him. But when you're looking back over the time, I mean, we were talking about before we got on air here, and it was like, you had Alexander Daig. You're back in those early Senators days. I mean, you look over some of the guys you've seen over the years. Is there any certain guy or story that was just like, guys did some weird shit before games? Like it just got them ready. Do you remember any?
Yeah, there's one. Actually, Sid lives. I have summer home in Nova Scotia. And I'm on one end of the lake, and Sid and Nate McKinnon are at the other. And I keep telling them they're at the wrong end of the lake. They should. Does Sid drive? Go ahead. Do you remember Danny Markov?
Yeah.
So Danny Markov used to smoke. So we were before a game. We're trying to have a meeting. Where's Danny? Where's Danny? Then I find out he's in the trainer's room. He's having a cigarette. And he's blowing the smoke into the dryer, right? So he was a recovering alcoholic, and he said, I'm not drinking anymore, but I smoke. He said, Bones, he said, you want me to smoke or you want me to drink? Keep smoking, Daddy. Meeting's in 2 minutes when you finish.
Oh, I love it, man. I love it. If it works, then you got to let them go, right? And that's why the guys love you.
Exactly. Sometimes you got to stay out of their way. That's the best thing you can do. Stay out of their way, man. Let them go.
Listen, over the last little bit here, Gump's up here in the corner. He's been telling us every time we come on. I already said Nick's from Pittsburgh, so we get the Pittsburgh talk here, and obviously our boss Pat McAfee is a big Pittsburgh fan, so we get that side of it. Well, Gumps is a huge Dallas Stars fan. He's from Vancouver, but he's a Stars fan. He's been telling us for weeks now. He's been saying, "Pesky Stars, they're coming. I'm telling you, they're coming. They're coming." And you made an interesting. I don't know. Maybe you could expand on this because working at NHL Network and on the media side, sometimes the things that coaches say gets misconstrued. It was brought to my attention, and I saw that you said something on the lines of, I know what's wrong with this team, and we're going to fix it. Can you expand on that? What happened? The team looks great right now.
Well, first of all, as you know, as a coach, we can. What I meant by that was I see what's wrong, and we're going to address it. Now, the players have to fix it when they go on the ice, but it's clear as coaches to us what was going wrong, and we were going to address it, and we did, and we were going to fix it, and we did. But to fix it, you need the players' total buy-in. We were giving up way too many goals early in the year, and we weren't scoring any. We were going chance for chance, but we were losing games because we couldn't put the puck in the net, and the puck was going in our net. So we had to tighten things up until we could start scoring some goals. So we put a lot of focus on our forecheck and our neutral zone now. And I think we're the number one team in the league, and not allowing the team to carry the puck into the zone. So we worked a lot hard on those areas so the teams weren't coming in, getting set up, making plays. If we forced them to dump it in, okay, war's on. You get in there, you win the one-on-one battles, get your numbers back, and get the puck out of the zone. So we could see what was wrong. We had to tighten this up in all three areas. It started with the forecheck, not giving up the odd mans. It started in the neutral zone, pressuring the puck more, getting our defense to stand up, forcing them to dump the puck in a lot more. And then it goes back to the breakouts, getting everyone back and talking to each other and moving the puck out. So we like when I said that, I said, yeah, I know what's wrong, and we're going to address it, and we're going to fix it. But again, the only way we can fix it is if the players bought in, and the players bought in completely. And we had 5 new bodies around the team, and it just took a little while to get everything to gel. And right now, even last night was probably the worst game we've played in this stretch, but our goaltending was unreal. Braden Holtby was unreal last night, the saves he made, but that's going to happen. There was earlier in the year we played a great couple of games and we lost only because we couldn't score. So Rupp, right? 82 games, it's going to sort itself out. It's going to balance itself out. So no one was in a panic, but we did see areas that we had to clean up, and we started to adjust with the players. And again, you can't fix it unless the players totally buy in. It's our job to identify the problem. It's our job to say, this is how we're going to fix it. Now it's your job, buy in. And we got that. So our players have been very good lately.
Yeah, well, you mentioned the goaltending, and Braden Holtby was awesome in that game. Jake Ottinger's been really nice too. And when you start sitting here and looking at this and Gumps every week we get on here, he's like, Rupper, what's wrong with Ben Bishop? Where's Ben Bishop? And he says it all the time. You don't have to give us an update on that. Where's Anton Hudobin? Like, what's going on here? Everybody's been saying there's so many goalies down there in Texas.
Is 4 too many?
It's 4. Yeah.
How many nets are you setting up down there, Bones? How many nets are at practice? God damn.
I'll tell you, Jeff Reese is our goalie coach. He's got arthritis in his shoulders from shooting so many pucks from him.
You know what? The funny thing, though, is like what I love about it, and maybe you can talk about Jake Ottinger, because I'm sitting here thinking I'm trying to put myself in the shoes of a young player, right? And it happened to me. I thought that I had a spot. And then in New Jersey, at the trade deadline, they traded for veteran guys for the playoff drive, and I was pushed out of the lineup. Okay, a little different here in this situation, but Jake Ottinger could be sitting here being like, "All right, I like my spot here. I've paid some dues here. I think I have an opportunity on this roster." And all of a sudden, the organization goes and signs Braden Holtby. And I think that there's 2 ways a player can react. He can trust the process with the team and have a belief and do the right things, which it seems like he's done. Or you can start kicking rocks and getting pissed off, right? Like, you're moving me down the totem pole. He's been really nice for you too. How has he handled this whole thing?
As a pro, he's a great kid. You'd love to play with this guy. He's one of those goalies you love to play in front of. He works hard. So let's go back to the bubble 2 years ago, and that's when we lost Bish. So we're going into the bubble, and Jake is in the minors, and all of a sudden he's backing up. Adobe had a great run for us, and we got to the finals. But Jake then thought, he's going to be okay, and we go into the next year. We start the season last year in the 56-game schedule. Bish couldn't go. So Jake stayed with us all year. Had some ups and downs, had some great games, had some tough games. Those tough games make you better. You learn from those. And now you go into the summer, like you said, we signed Braden Holtby because we're still unsure of Bish. And I think Bish is going to come back in the next couple of weeks and go to the minors and play a little bit. That's up to him and his agent, Jimmy Neal, to still sort out. But I think that's coming in the next little while. Hopefully that's coming. And then we signed Braden, and Braden has a great start. Then he has some injuries that we've got to deal with. So Jake comes up. But he went to the farm team in Austin and worked very, very hard because he's a character kid. He's a true pro. And he comes to the rink every day with a smile on his face. He's a great teammate. And he's not the first guy on the ice working with Jeff, getting warmed up, getting ready for practice. He's one of those goalies that in the shooting drills, yourself, you're shooting 100 pucks halfway through the goalie starts. He just comes to let them go in. Jake tries to start every shot. Braden Holtby's been a great influence on Jake because of his work habits. But Jake's been a wonderful kid, and he's played sensational for us, and he's got a great career ahead of him. But you're right. He could have gone down and pouted and said, what are they doing to me? But we handled it right. We handled it. This is as honest as we can make it. You're the future of this franchise. Okay, we took a little turn here. Go down, play hard, and work your way back up. And that's exactly what he's done.
Yeah, Bones.
Now what do we got?
Yeah, Bones, you talked about the bubble. I mean, you guys go on that miraculous run to the cup. It was incredible to watch. Long season, everyone lays their bodies on the line. As a fan, it was kind of like the year after. You kind of knew it was going to be a tough year. How tough was that on the team, the grind, trying to get through last season the way it went?
Well, honestly, I don't think the bubble had a lot to do with it. I think it was more the circumstances of last year. So
Yeah.
we go to training camp and we started the season great, and all of a sudden we got hit by COVID. Now we got to shut down for a week. So now we come back for another mini training camp and we get going again. Now we get hit with the winter freeze. Now we're shut down for 9 days again. So now we got to start all over again. And when we come back, the league, and we were the first team that was affected by this COVID and we're shut down. So, and the league gives us a schedule that we're for 11 weeks, we're playing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday. Like we had no 2-day break and we had no time to practice. And because of that, we all of a sudden we have more injuries. So these all sounds like excuses. They're not. It's the facts of what we had to deal with last year. So I really don't think that it was the bubble. I think it was the circumstances that we had to deal with last year. And it started when we got shut down with COVID. And then the big freeze, the winter storm, you all remember from last year. Yeah. We couldn't get to the rinks because they weren't allowed to turn the power on the rinks, turn the lights on. So, and then we come back and it's that condensed schedule. But when you're playing 11 straight weeks of Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, and you have zero break, you have zero time for practice. Now you're getting injuries. You can't straighten out the things. You can go to video all you want. You've got to get on the ice, right, Repper, and go through it, walk through these things and change the mentality. So anyways, we hung right in there till the end of the season. That last week, we got knocked out of the playoffs. But I give our players full credit for buying in last year. They dug in and they battled their butts off all year. And we never had a game where we walked out of there and said, well, we didn't work very hard tonight. We walked out of there saying, you know what, we really look tired tonight. And when your team is rested and they're not working, and you as a coach, man, we look tired tonight. We're half a step behind. So I give our players full marks for the way they competed last year. But again, I think it had more to do with the circumstances than the run from the bubble.
Yeah, I know. I remember even in a normal situated 82 games season, a lot of times I remember coaches would say it'd be January and they would say before practice one day, hey guys, this is our third to last full team practice the rest of the year. I'm like, it's January. What are you talking about? But the way the schedule goes every other day, like you just can't simply have everybody together, right? So it makes it really tough. So you do it on a condensed season, like you don't have practice time, right? It's more like maintenance days where the player's just going to go out, do what they need to do to feel fresh. And you're saying to some guys, hey, stay off the ice. You played 25 last night. Take care of your body and all that stuff. So it's tough, man. I don't envy what you guys did go through in that situation. I will say Tom Hawley is the PR guy for the Dallas Stars.
He's from Cleveland.
He's the I'm getting there.
Here we go.
He's the Nick I want to hear. He's the best. He's the best in the business, and not because he's a Baker Mayfield fan or a Cleveland Browns fan. He's the best in the business, and he's told me. I remember player media tour a couple years ago, and we're going around, and Miro was there right away. It's before we kind of knew who Miro Heiskanen is, and Tom says to me, he goes, "Rupper, this kid's special, man. This kid's special." I'm like, yeah, no, I know. He goes, no, he's special. Wait till you see him play. And so over these last couple of years, I've been trying to pay extra close attention to him. And there's a lot of defensemen, deservingly so. Cale Makar's been fantastic. Adam Fox deserved that Norris Trophy. I would go pound for pound, dollar for dollar, Miro Heiskanen with any defenseman in the league. How good has this young kid been?
He's been exceptional. And from the first day of camp, when I first saw him, he came in as an 18-year-old. So the skills always jump out at you from any player, how good they can skate, how well they pass the puck, how well they shoot the puck, their hockey sense. And that all jumped out. But what really impressed me about Miro were two things. A, his poise with the puck as an 18-year-old. Never gets rattled with it, never threw it away, always looked to make plays, always skated with when he could. But the other thing is he's one of those elite players that when the game's on the line, he wants the ball. He wants to be on the ice. If we're protecting a 1-goal lead, he wants to be on the ice. And we need a goal, he wants the ball. He scored some huge goals in the bubble because we were down a goal and he would go end to end and make a great play. So elite athletes have that innate ability that then the game's on the line, I want to be part of it. I want to be on the ice. I don't want to go out for 20 seconds and get off as quick as I can so I don't hurt the team. He wants the ball, and that's what I love about the poise and that innate ability he has. It, man, he wants the game. He wants to put the team on his back. There are a few guys like that, but I love that about the kid.
Oh, I love that. I love it. Gives me goosebumps. When you last night's game, you said it wasn't your best game. It's one of probably your worst games lately. That was a big win. That was a big win. I mean, we're sitting here and we're looking at the games for the night, and obviously we had circled is Florida and Washington. That one was a great one, also. But this was one for me where you've got the team that everybody's been talking about all year in Carolina, and then you got this other team that's on their way. They're coming. And I thought this was a really, I hate the word, and I hate the phrase measuring stick, because I think that insinuates you don't know who you are. But I thought it was a way to kind of flex your muscles. And although the game didn't go your way, or it did go your way, not to maybe a coach's likings, you got a big win. I mean, did that win feel different in that room? Because that's a big time win against a really good team.
They're a great hockey club. Rod's done a wonderful job. They are so hard to play against. You talk about a team heavy on the forecheck, they're coming, and their D are coming down the walls, and they force you to play on the walls a lot because there's so much pressure. You don't have time to go D to D, find your low center. You don't have time. They're right on you. So they put the puck in the right spot, and they're all this predictable hockey, man. They know where they're going, and they're coming. So we had a tough time with that last night. But as I told the team after, every game's not a Picasso. It's not, right? So with the schedule, sometimes you're playing a team that's playing great but having a tough time scoring. That would apply to Carolina last night. They've last couple games, I know they've lost, but they're playing a lot better than that. They're just having a tough time putting the puck in the net like we went through early in the year, and Braden again was outstanding. But it's a measuring stick in our terms of saying, okay, we beat them, but we can play better. Right, they outplayed us in our rink, and not the whole game, probably maybe 25% of it, but enough to dominate at certain times of the game. So it's a measuring stick in that, okay, we just beat, but winning percentage is the number one team in the league, and we beat them. So, and we know we can play better. So that's kind of the message. And again, every game, every shift, every period, it's not going to go your way. There's two teams out there trying to win, and you're not going to control the tempo of the game for 60 minutes, and especially against a team like Carolina. So we bent, we didn't break, and we found a way to win. And that's what good teams do. When you're on a roll, you find a way to win. But you also know when you're winning, sometimes little bad habits start to creep in because you just think, okay, we're going to win here. And all of a sudden, little things start to creep in that we've got to fix right away. Or all of a sudden, you go on a losing streak in a hurry because you let these little things magnify and get a little bit bigger. So our guys were good. We had a good meeting today, good practice. And you get ready for tomorrow. We've got Columbus coming in. They lost 6-0. They're going to come in hot, really hot. So we just got to get ready for tomorrow. Learn from last night, make some adjustments, and you move on.
Gumps, you got any PP suggestions or anything any starting goaltenders next game? What are you thinking?
Pick one of four.
Pick one of four.
Just keep it going, man. It's awesome to see the team buzzing again and playing like this because it's just like I said, the bubble run was so unexpected as a fan to get to the cup that it was incredible, and to see most of this team stick together and the way you've been coaching. I mean, let's go to another cup this year, Bones.
There we
That's
go.
The plans, man. That's the plans. That's what we're all here for.
Well, hey, the one thing I want to say to you, maybe you can let me in on it too. Let me know, because I haven't talked to you about this over the years when we've crossed paths. I was just telling these guys before he came on, I'm like, you know what? Come to think of it, Bones and I almost crossed paths again. And I hindsight being 2020, I would have loved to have had that opportunity. But I was told, so I finished year, that would have been 2010-11 season. I was in Pittsburgh. And so I was a pending UFA, and I was talking with Pittsburgh about signing an extension. And my agent comes to me and he goes, hey, just so you know, I heard that there's a deal on the table for you to go to Vancouver at the deadline. So I don't know what happened. I haven't gotten clarity on that. So it all started throwing a wrench in it for me, because I was like, do I want to sign in Pittsburgh for, I'm going to take a hometown discount and potentially get traded at, those things that go through players' minds. And I was like, could have played for Bones again. I could have been out there in Vancouver, and you guys had that Stanley Cup run. Did you have anything to do with that? Because that would have been awesome.
Yeah, definitely. I do remember that because we knew we needed to get a little more size. We needed to get a little more grit. And you fit the bill perfectly. And again, your work habits and your teammates are second to none. So you would have been a great fit for us. You might have helped us push us to get that second game.
I could have played another Stanley Cup final, man. If we go back in time, Bones, I would have pushed for that trade 100%. So no, it was an honor playing for you. It's great watching you. You know what, boys? You got your drinks. You're gonna hold them up here. We got Bones to 1,500 more. Wow. We appreciate you, man.
All right, thanks. That was a pleasure. Good talking to you guys.
Yeah, it's good talking to you. Thanks so
Enjoy your night.
Thank you, Coach.
Thank you.
Legend.
Bones.
Legend.
Yes.
Legend.
How can you not enjoy playing for a guy like that?